Hey everyone, I'm Leebs, and here we take a look at gaming news and gaming adjacent topics. Today we're going to take a look at the Nintendo Direct that just happened and marks the winding down of all the summer gaming showcases. Although it was short and sweet, Nintendo did show off a few upcoming releases, which will no doubt make some fans happy. Overall, it was a decidedly more low-key event than, say, Sony or Microsoft showcases, at least in my opinion, but I'll let you be your own judge. So here you go, this is everything that Nintendo showed off in the exact order in which it was shown. The first brothers of gaming are returning together after 9 years in Mario and Luigi Brothership, which was described as a seafaring adventure with evolved brother moves and a dynamic twist. Make of that what you will. As you'd expect, the trailer was full of puzzles, platforming, and a lot of team-up abilities. The game will see the iconic brothers set sail on Shipshape Island, which is apparently part ship and part island, and you'll be using your ship to explore the world of Concordia, which will no doubt present the player with plenty of turn-based combat and secrets to uncover. Mario and Luigi Brothership will be launching in just about 3 weeks this July 11th. Next up was the World Championship NES Edition for the Switch. This speedrunning collection has over 150 challenges spread out over 13 NES classics, online leaderboards, difficult legend challenges, and a survival mode that eliminates players each round until only one winner remains. You'll be able to take on challenges from the likes of 1993's Kirby Adventure, the original Donkey Kong, Super Mario Bros. 1 through 3, and a lot more. This isn't up everyone's alley, but if it is for you, you'll be able to play it on the Switch this July 18th. Moving right along, we saw Fairy Tail 2, the follow-up to the 2020 RPG based on the manga and anime of the same name, and it takes place during the series' final story arc. Players will be able to control Natsu and Lucy as well as the rest of the Fairy Tail members in a fight against the Alvarez Empire. There'll be a vast map to explore, improved gameplay, character stories to dive into, as well as an original story for players to discover. Fans of the anime series will be able to return to the Kingdom of Fior this winter on PC, PS4, PS5, and the Nintendo Switch. Fantasian Neo Dimension is finally going to be freed from Apple Prison and come to other platforms. For those unaware, Fantasian was created by Hironobu Sakaguchi, the father of Final Fantasy, as well as Nobuo Uematsu, the brain behind the iconic Final Fantasy music. So yeah, it's safe to say a lot of people are happy to see this one freed from Apple's exclusivity. I know I personally am. For all of us who have been waiting on this one since 2021, we'll finally be getting our hands on it later this winter on PC, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and the Xbox Series X and S, and of course, the Switch. And here's a quick update. Nintendo Switch Sports is getting a new basketball update for everyone looking to wave their controllers around even more. There will be 2-on-2 matches, 3-point challenges, 4-player co-op, local play, and 2-on-2 online play. The free update lands sometime later this summer. Yeah, this next one caught my attention. Mio Memories in Orbit is a new game from the team behind the indie puzzle platformer Shady Part of Me. You play as Mio, a little robot who wakes up on a ship adrift in space. It's up to you to figure out just what's wrong with the enormous spaceship as well as its original purpose. Naturally, you'll do that by exploring the Metroidvania-style design, fighting enemies, and unlocking its secrets. Personally, I'm always down for a new Metroid, and if you are, you'll be able to check this one out sometime in 2025 on PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and the Nintendo Switch. Disney Illusion Island, the side-scrolling platforming Metroidvania-like, will also be getting a new update called Mystery in Monoth. As you might have guessed from the name, you'll be looking for clues and connecting the evidence to solve said mystery. Illusion Island enjoyers can already check out the free update as it is live as of June 18th. Hello Kitty Island Adventure is a game that still makes me smile when I hear the name.
Yeah, but I'm playing Hello Kitty Island Adventure.
And this one too will be freed from Apple Gel. I haven't played this Life Sim Hello Kitty hybrid, but by many accounts, it's actually a pretty alright Animal Crossing-like game. In it, you'll be customizing your own avatar, finding and befriending different characters, completing puzzles, and even some light platforming on the side. After a brief timed exclusive period on the Switch, starting sometime next year, the game will eventually release on other platforms. Looney Tunes Wacky World of Sports is, as you'd expect, an eclectic sports game featuring the Looney Tunes characters. There will be 4-player co-op, power-ups, and obstacles, as well as arcade versions of basketball, soccer, golf, and tennis to play. Definitely more of a little arcade game to jump in and out of, but if this is your thing, you'll be able to get your hands on it later this fall on the Nintendo Switch. Announced back in May, Among Us will be getting new roles, lobby improvements, and some other quality of life changes. The new roles will include 2 crewmate roles, the Noisemaker and the Tracker. The Noisemaker sends out an alert when they're eliminated, and the Tracker can plant devices on suspected imposters to monitor their movements. Imposters will also be getting a new role, the Phantom, which will be able to vanish and stay invisible while stalking players. If you're watching this, then the update should already be live, so there you go. Developer Marvelous announced their new monster farming action-adventure game, Farmagia. Rather than capturing creatures in Pokeballs, you'll be growing them as crops and then harvesting them. A mildly disturbing notion, but the cuteness of watching a skulk of foxes charge into battle with you offsets the weird. And yes, a group of foxes is apparently called a skulk because they're sneaky little fellas. Or maybe those are orange wolves? Either way, in Farmagia, you'll be raising and training your army of creatures to fight against a despotic magus, ruler of the underworld. There's also a summoning system where you can merge your army into a larger fusion summon. If any of that sounds like a fun time, then you can check it out this November 1st on PC, PS5, and the Switch. Donkey Kong Country Returns, the older Wii title, is getting an HD release for the Switch. If you're thinking, didn't this already get remade for the 3DS? The answer is yes, it did, and all 8 levels from that version will also be folded into this HD re-release on the Switch. Naturally, you'll be able to go solo or recruit a friend with Diddy Kong for local co-op. The original 2010 release received decent reviews, so I'd expect the Switch release to do just as well when it launches this coming January 16th, 2025. The Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake was teased a few weeks ago, but this Nintendo Direct we got more of a look at the Octopath art style infused remake. And despite the modern visual makeover, fans of the original will be pleased to learn that the game's mechanics remain largely intact for better or for worse. So for those of you hoping for a more dramatic departure from the original, you're not going to find too much of that here. Still, the sheer scale of the world that the remake engenders with the new art style breathes new life into this old classic. The end of the Dragon Quest III reveal also gave us a sneaky announcement that Dragon Quest I and II will also be getting the same remake treatment. So fans of the Erdrick trilogy will be eating well in the coming months, as Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake, that's a mouthful, will be releasing this November 14th, with the 1 and 2 remakes coming sometime later in 2025. They'll be on the PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and the Nintendo Switch, although there is no word that 1 and 2 will be on the same platforms, but I would imagine they would be. This next one kind of surprised me, and it actually looks kind of interesting. Funko, the pop culture collectible company, is entering the gaming space with Funko Fusion. Apparently this one was initially announced back in 2023, so I guess I missed it last year. In any case, the action-adventure game will take you to a number of licensed worlds from Jurassic Park and Five Nights at Freddy's to Battlestar Galactica and Shaun of the Dead. So far, there have been 22 different worlds that have been revealed, and I'm really curious to see how this one plays out. Fortunately, we won't have to wait too long, as Funko Fusion is set to release this September on PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X and S, and of course, the Nintendo Switch. This Direct also showed off more of Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, which had previously been revealed earlier this year. Fans of the series will be happy to hear that this version is looking to be the definitive version of the game, but previewers have also pointed out that aside from the new graphics and some quality of life improvements, you shouldn't expect too much to be different from the previous 3DS version. Nintendo often plays it safe with these re-releases, so depending on your tolerance for that, you may or may not be excited for this one when it releases later this month. The new Denpa Men, previously announced as a Japanese-only title, will also be getting a Western release. There will be 4-player local co-op, an RPG mode with turn-based combat, as well as a dress-up and decorate mode for your Denpa Men and their little island. This next title in the Denpa Men series will be launching on July 22nd of this year as a timed exclusive on the Switch before trickling down to other platforms at a later date. Metal Slug Attack Reloaded is a port of a popular mobile game that's now coming to more platforms. The tower defense spin-off of the Metal Slug series features 300 plus units and abilities, deck building, and an online PvP feature. If you haven't checked this one out on mobile, by the time you're watching this, the port will be released for the PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and the Switch. Darkest Dungeon 2, the popular and difficult roguelike RPG from Red Hook Studios, was announced to be coming to the Switch next month. If you've never played these games, the gist of it is just form a party of adventurers, dive into a roguelike dungeon, and then get brutally destroyed in a turn-based fight that you shouldn't have picked at your lowly level, then rinse and repeat. Granted, the sequel isn't quite the same as the original, nor is it quite as difficult, but after a couple years it's found its audience and currently sits at mostly positive on Steam. Switch players will be able to delve into the game this July 15th. Zelda: A Link to the Past 4 Swords, Metroid Zero Mission, Turok Dinosaur Hunter, and the original Perfect Dark are all coming to the Nintendo Switch Online Plus library and will be live by the time you're watching this. Not much to add here, these are all old classics, but it was nice to hear that Perfect Dark will be getting an online multiplayer mode in 2024. That'll be a throwback for a lot of players and something of an introduction to younger players if you're interested in the new Perfect Dark game coming in a year or two.
Welcome to Garden City, where it's a pleasant 23 degrees all day, every day.
Moving right along, Phantom Brave originally came out way back in 2004, but has been remade and re-released for various platforms over the years, and here we are finally getting a sequel called The Lost Hero. The game centers around a young girl named Marona, whose parents passed away battling an evil entity named Sulfur. Before her parents died, they tasked a colleague of theirs, Ash, to look after their daughter. The only issue is that Ash also died in the same battle and was resurrected as a phantom. This newest entry follows Marona as she searches for Ash, who vanishes after sacrificing himself to save her. During the adventure, Marona will capture and summon phantoms to fight for her in turn-based battles, as well as merging with other phantoms to empower her abilities. Phantom Brave: The Lost Hero will launch sometime next year on PC, PS4, PS5, and the Nintendo Switch. Marvel vs. Capcom is back on the menu with an Arcade Classics fighting collection. This collection of 7 games includes X-Men: Children of the Atom, Marvel Superheroes, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, Clash of Superheroes, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and The Punisher, which is more of a beat 'em up, but hey, why not include it? After Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite's pretty meh release, I didn't actually expect to hear anything from the franchise for a time, and while this is far from a new game announcement, it is nice to see the series still kicking around in some form or another. You'll be able to check out these classics later this year on PC, PS4, PS5, and the Switch. Hey, here's a bigger one. A new Super Mario Party is coming soon, this time titled Jamboree. While the gameplay looks basically like what we've come to expect, there will be 5 new game boards and 2 returning boards spread across the game world's islands, which include 110 different minigames. The biggest addition to the mix comes with the Koopathon game mode that allows for 20-player online multiplayer, which will definitely make for some chaotic games. Super Mario Party Jamboree launches later this year, October 17th. Even bigger than a new Mario Party game, however, is The Legend of Link: Echoes of Wisdom. And no, I'm not calling it by its real name, The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. Nope. After Link is captured by Ganon, it's up to Zelda, finally, to save the day. If you played the Link's Awakening remake, you'll be familiar with the art style on display here, and rather than wielding the Master Sword with Navi at your side, Zelda will control the Tri-Rod with the fairy Tri at her side. Using the Tri-Rod, Zelda will capture echoes of objects and monsters that can be used to solve puzzles, traverse the game world, and of course use those captured creatures to fight other monsters. It's cool to see the franchise returning to its top-down roots, but I am curious to see just how the game plays with the Tri-Rod's mechanics. Fortunately, we won't have to wait long as The Legend of Link: Echoes of Wisdom launches this September 26th on the Switch. Here's another one that doesn't need much of an introduction. For those Just Dance fans out there, the 2025 edition of the game will be coming to the Switch later this year and features 40 new songs. Of course, if you have the previous 2 editions, all your content will be accessible from the 2025 version. Not a lot to add here. If you've played Just Dance before and this looks like your thing, albeit with more and different music, the 2025 edition will be launching this October. I didn't have time to cover this one last week, what with all the other reveals, but LEGO Horizon Adventures was announced and it will be making its way over to the Switch. This week's playtesters got to go hands-on in a preview build to see just what the game is all about. LEGO and Horizon fans will be pleased to learn that the game feels very much LEGO and very much Horizon, with the game's combat leading into Aloy's bow and Rost's spears while also maintaining the familiar LEGO combat feel. As you might expect, you'll be collecting lots of power-ups from both the Horizon franchise as well as the larger LEGO series. Players will be able to customize Aloy with various outfits and explore a central hub area that changes as you progress through the game. Stealth, parkour movement, zip lines are all featured in the game's traversal options. The usual LEGO puzzles and building are present, as is the typical LEGO humor, and previewers were surprised by the game's overall visual fidelity, despite looking like a classic LEGO game. Overall, previewers had mostly positive things to say about the game, and players won't have to wait too long to get their own hands on it as it's launching this holiday season on PC, PlayStation 5, and the Nintendo Switch. Stray, or that cat game that everyone was playing a couple years ago, is finally coming to the Switch. At this point, most of you will have heard of this one, but in a nutshell, you play as a cat in a sci-fi dystopian world with a little robot, B12, as your guide and companion. It's a simple and cute game with a somewhat more emotional story than I was expecting when I first played it. I'll be curious to see how this one performs on the Switch, because if I remember correctly, the PS5 and Series X versions had some console hiccups. Hopefully those bugs have been ironed out and Switch players can enjoy the experience for themselves later this holiday season. This next one has been on my Steam wishlist for a while now, and I'm happy to see that Switch players will also be able to play Tales of the Shire. Set in the Middle-earth, obviously, this Lord of the Rings life sim has you create your own hobbit and live your own simple life in the Shire. Although it doesn't take place in Hobbiton, the town of Bywater looks to be an acceptable alternative. I just hope the mechanics are fun and engaging and not too simplistic, because a life sim set in the Shire just seems like a no-brainer of an idea. No concrete date for this one yet, but it is tentatively listed for winter of this year. The Ace Attorney series has seen a bit of a rejuvenation the last few years, and that trend continues with Ace Attorney Investigations collections. This newest collection includes 2 Miles Edgeworth spin-offs, Ace Attorney Investigations, Miles Edgeworth, and the more excitingly, Ace Attorney Investigations 2, Prosecutor's Gambit, which fans outside of Japan haven't been able to play, at least in an official capacity. These 2 games will feature HD visuals with an option to use the more classic style graphics, a conversation history, a story mode, and a gallery of art, animations, and music to check out. This newest collection will release on PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and the Switch this September 6th. The creators of Danganronpa are working on their next game, the 100-line Last Defense Academy. In this one, players will take control of Takumi Sumino, a student whose life is thrown into chaos when monsters attack. After becoming part of the Last Defense Academy, Takumi has 100 days to defend the school in tactical grid-based strategy combat. In true Danganronpa fashion, you can expect that not all of your classmates will be making it out of this one alive. If this one's got your attention, you'll be able to play it early next year on PC and the Switch. Here's another throwback, but this one I've never actually played. Romancing Saga 2: Revenge of the Seven looks to be a total 3D remake of the 1993 game, boasting over 30 character classes, an inheritance system that passes power to the next emperor of the game world, which the player chooses, an updated timeline battle system, 14 weapons and spells, a combat evasion system, an overdrive-style attack system, battle formations, and seemingly a lot more. I'm not familiar with this series outside of a vague recognition of the name, so I'm looking forward to checking this one out. Romancing Saga 2: Revenge of the Seven is coming out October 24th of this year on PC, PS4, PS5, and the Switch. And finally, last but definitely not least, Nintendo saved a big reveal for the end. That's right, Samus is finally returning with Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. It's been 7 years since this was last revealed, but the time is finally nigh, or at least it seems to be. To be honest, the trailer didn't actually reveal too much, running, gunning, scanning, and of course rolling. Even so, it's nice to see the title is alive and well, especially after having to reboot its development back in 2019. Oftentimes, troubled development cycles like that end very poorly for the game, but with the series' original devs, Retro Studios, on the case, there's cause for optimism. We don't know for sure, but it looks like it's going to be releasing sometime next year. And there you have it, everything that was announced at this June's Nintendo Direct. As I'm sure is the case with most of you, some of these looked a little less interesting than others, but it's hard to complain when you're getting a new Zelda, Metroid, and Mario and Luigi game so soon. On top of that, Mio, Memories in Orbit, and to my surprise, Funko Fusion actually have me interested in both. But even if some of these games are still a year or more out, there are plenty of games to play in the meantime, what with everything that's been announced in the past week or so. And on that note, I'm going to go take a nap. It has been very busy. As always, I hope your day is going great and that some of these announcements have given you something to look forward to. See you next time.